the Bosnian pyramid in Bosnia, covered totally in trees and makes it look like a mountain, but it's not. It's an actual pyramid underneath that that's grown over it, is actually 150 foot taller than the Great Pyramid. So it's actually, this is the Great Pyramid really, in effect. However, I had heard that in Italy there was another one that's bigger than this. Now, underneath here is cave systems and tunnels, and they used the sand, dirt and pebbles that was underneath to actually make concrete to make the blocks for the actual pyramid. So talk about eco-sustaining. Now, they also used a form of clay which is such high quality. It's been researched by 6 institutes, the actual clay that was used, and they said it's the finest quality clay you could ever get. So you've got to remember that the Great Pyramid was blocks. I know people can say, oh well, it was made using concrete, limestone concrete, and poured in, but just because they can do that doesn't mean that's how it's done, because there is a quarry that's missing exactly the same amount of stone as there is the pyramids in Giza. So whereas here there's no quarry and the stone was actually from underneath, and also the Great Pyramid don't have clay as mortar. There is no mortar. It's literally block on block on block, whereas this one does have mortar, which is the clay. So there is a difference between the two. However, at the top point here, it's been noted that 30 gigahertz, I think it is, a 13-foot diameter power or frequency in the ultrasound is coming out of it. So 13 foot around there, which again makes this seem like it's another one of those power plants like the Great Pyramid. Gold. Yeah, I've mentioned gold a lot about the Anunnaki, grinding it up or trying to find the powdered gold. Now, the best place they found gold was for mining was South Africa, I believe. I believe that's where the most mines were, which is where they also started to create Adam. Now, there's a picture here on Michael Tellinger's website, I believe. Look for michaeltellinger.com if you're interested in the mines of South Africa, the ancient mines, not the ones that they're doing now. Here's a picture of people that found an ancient mine and were exploring it. And this site here, ancientorigins.net, says that, again proving that there was mines, that 5,300 years ago, the people that mined the mines were of high standing. In other words, they were people that was, or people that were regarded as high positions in the community. But let's be honest, 5,300 years ago, what benefit would they be mining for? Think, what would they need underground as a caveman? Yeah, there's not a lot they would do underground unless they were making a house. I can't grasp the concept other than the gold that the Anunnaki needed, and it wasn't 5,300 years ago. It would have been well older than that. But obviously, mainstream's gone with the narrative that humans around 5,000 years ago were at just started to have a brain and started to do stuff themselves. But we all know different. So, so the gold mines are real. South Africa, look for Michael Tellinger. I actually get people saying to me there's no such things as these mythological creatures such as the centaurs because we've never found them. Now, all it takes is for one of them to have been created by the Anunnaki, just one. And then the statues and carvings came after. Now, you try and find one skeleton, ancient skeleton, from this, it's really, really difficult to find. It's like looking at a needle in a haystack over the whole planet, trying to find where that one was. There could have been more, but I'm just using one as an example. And to prove how little the people that say to me there's no such thing as these is, I will just point out there's this skeleton that's recently been found in Indonesia. And it belongs to a group of humans that have never been found before anywhere else. So they've only just found this in a cave, in fact. So my point is, what is? So I've mentioned giants before, and I've sort of said some of them can be really tall. Now Michael Tellinger, go to his site, michaeltellinger.com. He's got this bone. It's a petrified bone, well, finger bone of a giant, and I mean a giant. So I don't know if you can see the fingernail just there, and the size of some money next to it. This giant, with this finger, would have been 70 meters tall, apparently, which is absolutely huge. So I suggest you all strongly go visit his site, sign up, register, and he'll keep sending you these fantastic bits of information. And that's the location there, I won't even try and pronounce it, where this finger bone near some stone circles was found. So he tries to let us know. Go visit his site, michaeltellinger.com. I have been asked enough times to do serious work on the Book of Enoch and the Anunnaki, because the Book of Enoch is where we get a lot of our information from for the Anunnaki. So I am now, you'll be pleased to know, I'm now going to be doing these 3-minute deep, going into deep detail on the Book of Enoch and the Anunnaki. So let's start. Now I'm using Wikipedia. Don't hate me, I do know stuff without going into Wikipedia, but I'm just using it because it's got everything at a glance that you may need to go through. So the Book of Enoch, I'm just, as I say, I'm using this as reference to help you guys. So Enoch was the great grandfather of Noah. So I've already sort of slightly covered that before, but I'll cover it again later. Now Enoch was asked by one of the gods, probably Enki or Enlil, when I say gods, aliens, to transcribe what went on. And now it wasn't just what went on Earth, it was what went on prior to even them coming to Earth. So their whole backstory. Now the Book of Enoch contains basically different versions of texts. So you've actually got different, like this version here from the Dead Sea Scrolls is the Aramaic. Whereas you've also got cuneiform, Sumerian cuneiform, and some other different writings in there. So as you see there, Greek and Latin fragments. So it all basically makes up the Book of Enoch. So the Book of Enoch, there's only 200 people worldwide, doesn't say it here, but I know this, that can actually read and interpret the Book of Enoch. Zachariah Sitchin was one of the most famous ones. Unfortunately, he's passed now. So if you are interested in this, you'll have to find one of the 400 people that have transcribed this. Now, they all come along and say very similar things from their own Now, according to Zachariah Sitchin, each person, and this is how the Bible works, each person that's transcribed the Book of Enoch uses their own background of what they've learned in life. So where I might say green grass, they may say grass green, or some other type of description for it. So as I go on about the Book of Enoch, you got to remember that each person, just like the Bible, have transcribed it. They've put their own stamp on what they think it actually represents, because there's no hard and fast rule of what a word says in English, for example.